The year is 1997. Again. Roll titles. We go again. Welcome back to Formula 1 97. While we did a pretty good job of getting justice for Olivier Panis last year, the fact is we still didn't do the job. I've not beaten this game. So naturally, time to bring out the big guns. I appreciate we've already done a season with Jean Alesi, and if we were going to get justice for him, it should be in a Ferrari, because he had such a connection with that team. But this man's bad luck really did know no bounds. He was very unlucky not to win the Benetton. Very unlucky not to win Monaco in the Benetton in 96. Which I know we've just kind of said that was one of Olivier Panis' finest moments last year, but that was this is this year now. Try and keep up. You know, both things can be true. Panis can be very deserving of his 96 Monaco win, but at the same time, Alesi can also be unlucky that his suspension failed while he was leading. Anyway, the other reason is moving from Prost to Benetton, at least in-game, will give us a little bit of a performance boost to help us combat the relentless consistency of Villeneuve and Schumacher. Now, there are a couple of changes to be aware of, the first of which is a driver substitution. Now, this game, unlike its predecessor, doesn't have any driver substitutions, so stuff like, you know, Trulli going to Prost when Panis was injured and Tarso Marquez coming in. Alex Wurtz's 3 races for Benetton this year, not in it, they're not in. And that's fine, for the most part it's got the drivers that were in there most of the season, except for this young man. Well, he's not young by this point. Nicola Larini only drove 5 Grand Prix for Sauber, so I thought we'll put in the driver that drove the most races for Sauber that season. That is Gianni Morbidelli. Yes, that is still Nicola Larini's picture and helmet. Yes, Murray Walker will still refer to that car as Nicola Larini, but I don't care. You know, justice for Gianni Morbidelli. It's a good idea, actually. I'm going to write that down. Now, there are a couple of vital settings tweaks as well. So, of course, we're staying on the same race length, same AI difficulty, the hardest one. This should come as no surprise to you that failures are now going off. Pretty much every other weekend we got affected by some kind of failure, whereas the AI, I think we saw 3 or 4 mechanical issues for them across the season, tops. It's just weighted unfairly, so guess what? We're levelling the playing field. And the other changes to weather, it is now random instead of variable. Effectively, last year ended up being a dry season. So random means the weather won't change in a session, but we will get different weathers throughout a single race weekend. Don't even know if wet weather's going to be good for us, but it'll be interesting to find out. But that's it, that's all the changes, everything else is the same. Let's see what we can do with Jean Alesi. You may have noticed I've gone a little bit YouTubery with my setup and stuff. Because I'm playing this via a PS3 that's getting captured, I need a separate headphones to hear the game. Because if I do it through the PC, it comes through delayed, which is really off-putting. So I now need to wear these... So hopefully from this angle, like I'm doing this, and hopefully it looks normal. But obviously that's quite insane. That's a little bit mad. Oh, and immediately, let's see what this is. I've put slick tyres on.
The rain's absolutely lashing down on the track.
We're in Australia, of all the places for it to rain for the first time. So that's interesting. So obviously you pick your tyres in the setup screen before you go to the session. Obviously you have no idea what the weather's going to be, so I could easily just start a session and be on the wrong tyres. I bless the rains down in Albert Park. Right, I'll go into the pits at the end of this lap and see if I'm just on the tyres I picked, or if it's been kind to me. But considering the way I'm sliding about, I think I'm on slicks. And you may notice actually there's a little little rev counter, which is new. There is actually one more change, and I'm doing manual gears this time around. The only reason I didn't is because I thought this was like the original game, where you literally had no rev counter and no way of knowing when to change up apart from by ear, which is impossible when you're racing in the pack. Here, at least you have some indication, so I'm gonna go for it. Maybe a bit of a hindrance at first, but once I get used to it, I'm sure it'll be fine. I am on slicks, damn. So let's go Monsoon. As you can see, we've got our time from last year as Panis as a bit of a reference, but that is only my best time in practice. Which we don't have to worry about beating. Now, before we get into the proper action, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who got involved last season with charity predictions. The Just Giving page is still open. We've raised 85 quid so far, which, considering first year round, we raised like 25, and this isn't even the point of this series, it's just kind of a little side quest. I think it's really great. I've not even topped up myself to that, so there's going to be more. I'm not actually going to do charity predictions for this season. I'm just going to leave that Just Giving page open for the duration of this series as well. However, when I get round to doing my Formula 1 98 playthrough, which will be starting, I don't know, in the near future, we'll do another charity predictions, run alongside that as well. And if you watched my revisit of Formula 1 98, I mean, you'll know. Good luck trying to predict anything that's going to happen that season. Jesus Christ. Now, as it's our second season playing through this game, and 1997 as a whole, I'm going to still reference what happened really in real life, but actually, we've done that once. If you want to kind of have a little bit of the real life comparison stuff, definitely go and watch Justice for Olivier Panis. And I still reference what happened in real life, especially if it's pertinent to Alesi, which sadly today's race is. But mainly, I'm going to focus on comparing how I'm doing versus the Panis season. But this was the opening round of the season. Williams were firm favourites, 1-2. Villeneuve 1.7 seconds clear of his teammate, like he was, on it. The first race of Alesi's second season with Benetton, he qualified 8th. Last year with Panis, we managed 4th on the grid. We're not going for Alesi's real target, we're going for our Panis target from last year. 4th or above. I think it's doable. Let's see what the weather does. Mercifully, the weather was dry. In the bottom corner you can see the real pole and the Justice for Olivier Panis pole. 3 seconds between the real and the fake, both from Villeneuve. Lap 8 was my fastest, and here we go through turns 1 and 2. A little bit slow on the exit. I could have really get down to second a little bit quicker and then just, get the power on earlier for the exit. Down to Whiteford, this is a first gear corner, just gradually down through the gears. Angle it up through turn 4, and then 5 is completely flat, and we head towards the end of sector 1. Just down by a few hundredths of a second, so still plenty of time to recover. Going a little bit deep into turn 6, but at least managed to get it down to first and get the power out. And I'm about to repeat that mistake coming into the Clark chicane. This is now no longer in Albert Park, it's been removed. So as you can see, deep once again, but down to first, managed to get the power on early, and it's not too bad. And I think it proves how poor maybe my second sectors had been previously throughout the session, because despite those slightly messy corners, 1.1 seconds up, I'd left some time on the table there as well. So into the third and final sector, heading towards Ascari. This is a second gear corner, but then on the exit you can see the revs are a bit low, so probably could have maybe switched down to first, but I feel like I was happy with the way I took it in the end. Could switch up to fourth before coming into the penultimate corner, but instead keep it in third, down to first, then just angle it nicely out the 16th and final corner. Just a little bit let off the throttle to make sure I get there. Power to the line.
I'm looking at the qualifying lap times now.
Yes.
Brilliant lap and puts him on provisional pole.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Although I have shook my headphones loose by doing that. I was really happy with how that went, and considering my lap time to last year's pole time, what a start by 9/10 of a second from Michael Schumacher. Jean Alesi on pole for Benetton, Villeneuve down in 4th, Hakkinen in 6th. Where's our teammate? Berger in 8th. What a start. And before you turn around and say, oh, obviously this is going to be way too easy this season, we remember how it fluctuated so much between tracks last season. Australia was one of the decent tracks. There's going to be some struggle bus tracks. This just isn't one of them. So hopefully we can get ourselves off to a good start, because we're going to need to try and compensate somehow. So, 1997 Australian Grand Prix, this was the race where Hill didn't make the start, Villeneuve and Irvine didn't make it past the first corner, and Frentzen had a brake failure, so the favourites Williams didn't even score points on the debut. David Coulthard scored McLaren's first win since the 1993 Australian Grand Prix and Ayrton Senna. Most importantly, Jean Alesi ran out of petrol. He was running well, and he was waiting for the call via radio from the garage to say, time to come in. But the radio wasn't working. And even though the team put out pit boards, he wasn't looking at the pit boards. So he just kept going round and round. Till he just sort of stopped. I've said many times before that Alesi was unlucky. Today was not one of his unlucky days. Today was one of his unfortunate moments. We had a couple of those as well. And it bore a famous bit of Murray Walker commentary, which I can't use for copyright reasons, but I can use Simon Corr's impression of it. Murray Walker said,
"Oh, Jean, you may well look a bit worried."
And he said that because, of course, the team in the garage were absolutely furious. Anyway, target for us, we're on pole by 9/10 of a second. Like I said, there's going to be more difficult tracks to come, namely the next 2 rounds. So, let's convert. Only a win will do. I hope it's not raining, because I've gone with dry tyres. Okay, thankfully it is dry. Now, bad starts was an issue last year. Let's see if manual gears can help with that as the lights go on. And we are off again in 1997. Schumacher into the lead. Frentzen into second. A little bit of a concertina into the first chicane. Okay, not too bad. Let's just stay calm. As Frentzen immediately going for a move on Schumacher. Frentzen determined to perform well in the debut for Williams. Okay, I know I want to commentate and I want to focus on the racing, but of course I need to remember to change gear, which I wasn't doing then. Once I got into the rhythm in qualifying, when I was, just concentrating, wasn't so bad. And, I clearly made it work for my benefit much quicker. The race is going to be something different. Don't quite get the exit, but we can probably sit in the slipstream. Oh, I've gone the wrong side of him. Let's move to the inside. Try and outbrake. We do. Slow exit though, but it's enough. Schumacher in the lead. Remember, in our playthrough last season, Jacques Villeneuve won in Australia, did not lose the lead of the championship at any point. At the minute, he's not even led at any point. Funny how things turn around.
He's coming up from behind now. The top positions are third.
Well, I do feel like this middle sector might be the bit where we gain the time and hopefully make the move.
Williams, number 1.
Don't feel comfortable going on the inside of this one.
Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Hang on. In fifth.
Up here might be it. Up the inside. And it's a clean move. Sweep up the inside of Schumacher and back into the lead. What a start. What a start to this season.
Into lap 3.
Like I said, manual gears at first may be a little bit of a blocker while I get my head around it. I never used to play with manual gears on games with a pad when I was younger. And even though I do it on, on games I play with a wheel as a grown-up, there still seems to be like a weird mental thing that I struggle when it comes back to going to a pad and doing manual gears on these games. because obviously they feel a little bit different just from the pad, but also just the way the game is set up as well. But I seem to have rewired my brain to this one okay so far. And the benefits are there, because I feel like there were moments in certain corners, and it might be those long sweeping corners that we had issues with last season, when it maybe just put you in the wrong gear. I almost feel like sometimes it was too eager to change up a gear, or not eager enough to change down. So your revs weren't really at the optimum. You'd sometimes just exit a corner with really low revs, and it just felt like you'd be kind of like that then, waiting for it to slowly wind up. Whereas now, as long as I'm not an idiot with it, I can use that to my advantage. Obviously the downside is, I'm not as reliable as automatic gears in always picking the right one. See, I was up to 2 seconds clear of Schumacher, and then just one little mistake because I've maybe not changed down quick enough, braked a bit late. And look at that. Look at when you get that right though. That was... yeah, I'm certainly not going to just drive away from Schumacher. I've got to keep my wits about me. He is still there. Probably would be driving away if I just shut up. Maybe I should do that.
We're at about half the race distance
now. Oh no! No, no, no! Nice to see the accidental look backs are still there though. Lovely. You know, I do think the whole thing of accidentally looking back with, because I accidentally press in the L3 button, is an issue to this remote, this old PS3 remote. And I saw an article where it said you can use PS4 remotes with your PS3, and it worked. The only problem is the actual PS button, which you use to change it to analog, doesn't work. So I could use a PS4 remote instead, but I'd be on the D-pad. Look at the gap! Look at what the gap's come down to! It was 4 seconds! Blathering on about analog sticks and controllers. Shut up. If I do something Alesi-esque, like throw this win away by not concentrating, essentially an equivalent to him running out of petrol, I'll be angry for weeks. Okay, I can hear Schumacher there now. Let's focus. Oh, that's not focusing!
Number 1.
There we go.
4. Heinz-Harald in 5th place, Mika Häkkinen. 6. Eddie Irvine.
So Villeneuve back in the top 3. Mika Häkkinen for McLaren in 5th. A much better start for them. They had a terrible season last season on this game. The fluctuations are insane. Back up to a 4-second gap now to Schumacher. Oh, if I start putting some consistent laps, I reckon I could have it to 10 before the end of the race. See if we can do that. Here we go. A challenge to shut me up. You know what, I'm actually really looking forward to tackling those tracks now that I struggled with. The next two, Brazil and Argentina, were absolutely ones that, you know, in other games, I love Interlagos. Who doesn't love Interlagos? But in this game, humbling. Argentina, humbling. Didn't score points with Panis in either of them last season. But now, slightly quicker car in the Benetton, but being able to just drive it with manual gears might be able to do something. But let's not think about that. Let's think about now. Oh, Jean, you may well look a bit happy. Oh, I nearly threw it away when he said that. Jean Alesi wins in Australia. Perfect start. Game on. Best ever start to a Justice 4 season. In the previous 2 first rounds, I finished 4th and 4th. And there is confirmation. And was it over 10 seconds? Yes, it was. 14 seconds clear of Michael Schumacher. Villeneuve recovers to 3rd, but never really looked like troubling Schumacher from there. Frentzen 4th, Hakkinen 5th, Irvine 6th. We have a fastest lap as well. What a start. So nothing really else to report in terms of the driver standings. The top 6 in the race is now the top 6 in the championship. However, the Constructors is going to be, I think, an uphill battle all season long, because the amount that Berger will get in the points will not be the same amount that I think Frentzen and Irvine will. Both of their teammates scored today. They are equal on 7, so they're just 3 points behind us. McLaren with 2 points to start their season off. It's going to be interesting. I hope Berger can get some points for us, and maybe we can nick something, but we've never won a Constructors' Championship on these playthroughs yet. But that's it. We're back. We're off and running. I love this game so much. And next time, we'll see how much performance improvements being in the Benetton and having control of my own gears will make at a track that wasn't great for us last year. Interlagos, Brazil. Will the rain come out in the race as well and cause some issues? Who knows? I mean, that'll be fun if we end up on dry tyres. If anyone's got any clarity on that, by the way, are you just stuck, if you just don't guess it right, you're stuck on dry tyres for the start of the race, or does the game do you a solid? If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. But otherwise, we're off and running. Thank you so much for watching. The perfect start for Jean Alesi and Benetton. I don't think we're going to run away with it. I know it's been a really dominant start, but these next 2 races are going to be a reality check. So if we can just keep it in the points, I'll be happy. See you soon.